Here's our stick pony. We've Xeroxed our pattern. We've taped it together. It's too big to fit on one sheet of paper. Then we've put that pattern on top of two pieces of fur right side together, and then we sew on the solid line and cut 1/4 of an inch past that solid line. We've done the same thing with the ears, but we've put one layer of a color and one layer of fur sewn on the solid line, cut on, so there's 1/4 of an inch around that solid line. Turn it right side out. The ear we're going to tuck under 1/4 of an inch. Then we've cut our eyelids, and then we'll show you how to put this little guy together. We've stuffed our pony. We stuffed him really, really tight, and we poked his eye in, and I use these that have a back on the eye that snaps on tight, so no child is going to be able to take them out. This is really secure, and you just make the tiniest hole to put that in so that it won't pop out. Now we've cut our eyelid, and I'll put it over the eye. You just show quite a bit of the other eye, otherwise he looks either sleepy or angry, and then just blanket stitch around the top. Then the ear, after it is sewn, you tuck under 1/4 of an inch and blind stitch that, fold it in half, and then according to the markings on the pattern, you're going to place it up on the head and blind stitch on each side. I stitch it a little high on the inside so the ears will stand up. Then I've gathered the bottom opening with double thread. I've stained and polyurethaned a stick, and the size, the length of the stick is given in your pattern for the different sizes of pony. This is the small pony. What I'm going to do is open a hole up in the middle. Just put your fingers down and make a hole in the batting. Then I'll cover the stick with a glue, and then I'll just poke that stick up, and I poke it up pretty high. It's 5 or 6 inches up, so it's going to be up this high to really support the head and keep it from flopping around. Once that's done, I'll close the gathering up around the stick. Then I've made a little tube of the fabric, and I'm going to glue that onto the stick as well to face the bottom, and I might stitch it a little bit too so that the gathered stitches are stitched onto this tubing, and then this stick will snug tight around the stick and whip stitch this edge or turn it under like that. So it's going to look really finished off and professional. Okay, here I've glued this facing tubing here. I've rubber banded just so that it will dry, have plenty of time to dry. Now to do the hair, I can use any kind of yarn. This is a curly yarn that's going to fuzz out at the end that little girls would love, or anybody would love, really. Boys love that too. And I just take it and loop the length of hair that I want, and then I'm just going to take a needle and thread and stitch each yarn, and you can double stitch it if you really want it to hold. And then I'll do that up and around to the forehair here. And that's one way of doing it, and let me show you another way. Okay, another really fun way of doing hair is to use this long fur, and when you cut it, you want to cut right down to the bottom. Don't cut on top of the hair, because you'll just give it a haircut and lose all that length. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut in it's like 4 inches, and the length of this part goes this way, the neck goes forward, and then I'm going to put the wrong sides together and machine zigzag across, and then I'm going to just hand tack it to this back seam. Now, when it's up like this, it doesn't want to take that turn. So you might need to open it up and smash it down a little bit and tack it, and then it takes the turn. This is just really beautiful hair and gives a neat, rich look to the pony. Now, the bridle is just loops of ribbon. I use these little curtain rings, and I like to fit it right to the horse as I'm making it, because if I give you a dimension for the length of the ribbon, it varies according to the thickness of your fur, or how hard you stuffed it, what kind of stuffing you used, but just fit it right to the horse. So you've got this part around the snout, a loop here, and a loop on the bottom to the ring, and then a loop around, and then of course the reins. And not hard at all. I just flipped the ribbon under and sewed it on. And now the ears, I used a felt here to give it stiffness, and it will do this. So tack it, come in and hand tack the lining to the ear and that will help it keep its shape. Okay, our pony's finished. He's just darling. I love the expression and the realistic look of his face. He's very secure. It's a great way for kids to play, and this pattern comes with 2 sizes. I hope you enjoy it.